apply pressure from every angle, you feel me? Yeah, you know, attack more. Never fold, man. Nah, never fold, never quit, yeah. Keep going, like, yeah. Now they gotta feel me, yeah. Now they gotta feel me, yeah. Now they finna feel me. I try to keep it cool, but niggas always act a fool. So now they gotta feel me, yeah. Now they gotta feel me, yeah. Now they finna feel me. I try to keep it cool, but niggas always act a fool. So now they gotta get high, smoke that thing. Tryna get M's in the bank, fuck what they think. Knock a nigga whole mouth out. Come sign me, top break, throw hands like Tank. Knocking out the park like Hank. I've been doing them planks, what you got on my drink? I've been trying to keep my sane. Humanity so lame, fuck you and your gang. Speaking on the dead man's name.
Roll Tide full of pride, roll tide full of pride, man. Here we go, here we go. Down at the levee, we going fishing at the levee. Roll Tide once again, bro. Roll Tide once again. Hey, the pads are on, the pads are on. Gotta break down practice number 4. I repeat, practice number 4. Kane Wommack speaks. Kane Wommack speaks. I will be breaking down his interview presser as well. But the pads come on, bro. And it's time for physicality. It's time for physicality in Alabama territory. That's the biggest thing for this team, right? Especially around the trenches. O-line side of the ball specifically. We need more physicality. We need more power. We need more pure domination. I repeat, we need more pure domination, baby. Roll Tide. Kane Wommack even said it in his recent presser, like I said, I will dive into. He said he wants this team to dominate. He wants them to be dominant. And that's the type of shit I love to hear. I want to see murder ball, dominant ball, physical football. I want them to take it back to the days when Wommack came on the field. When Wommack came on the field versus Notre Dame, baby, and has had his stomach out hanging. I repeat, he had his stomach out hanging, boy. Letting them know, hey, I'm finna eat y'all up heavy, eat y'all up heavy. It's finna get real deadly. Is you ready? So I want them to take it back there around yonder to that level of ball, Alabama football, all across the board. Now, when the pass comes on, it's a different level of physicality that comes along with it. A different mind frame, a different mind state. At least it should be. You know, we're talking about pads. That's when you hit. Who's physical, huh? Who's the bullies out there? Who ready to hit? Who ready to bang? Right? Who ready to hit and who is ready to bang around that thing? That's what it comes down to, point blank, period. Here we go, man. Let's dive into the article. I repeat, let's dive into the article. I'm going to read some articles first, and I'm going to dive into the whole Kane Wommack presser, see what he had to say about the team, the defense in general. Let's go, bro. Here we go. The state of Alabama football, the state of Alabama football. How do you feel about it? I repeat, dog, how do you feel about it? Make sure you come in, like the chat up, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with any and everybody you know. Support the grind, support the channel, and once again, roll tide full of pride. Let's dive in. Let's dive in. One second, 1 second. Some old news I want to see here. Matter of fact, let's just dive into the Kane Wommack interview first. Why not? Let's start right there. Here we go. Now, Kane Wommack has a lot to prove as well, just as far as the defensive coordinator for Alabama. Can he elevate? Can he step up? I'm very excited about this defense, a defense that was a championship winning defense last year. Now you see players returning back in the system, back in the program. So you expect a high level of defense, Holmes, period.
All right.
Just how big is
Give me 1 second. Run it back, run it back. But you expect the defense to perform at a high level, a higher level than last year. With the returns of Jan Pierre, the linebacker room, some stiff competition, right? You bring in Caleb Woodson, you bring in guys through the portal who should and could contribute right away. Guys like Terrence Mean Green, right? Guys like London Simmons, who were freshmen last year. We ain't even got to talk about the secondary, which is very elite. Like I've been saying, bro, I think Bama could have the best secondary in the land, in the nation. And I stand on that 10 toes down. Roll Tide full of pride. Roll Tide. Heavy. But here we go. Let's dive into it. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, boom. Here we go. Make sure if you come in the chat, let me get them roll tides in the chat. Them roll tides in the chat, baby. Heavy. The pads are on. I repeat, the pads are on for sure.
All right.
just how big is it to get Bray, Keon, and Yonze back when they're guys that could have maybe tested NFL waters?
Well, those are the decisions, right, that are made in January that affect us from September to the next.
First off, before he begins, shout out Bray Hubbard, shout out Keon Sabb, and shout out Yonze Pierre. Off the rip, you get experience with them. I repeat, off the rip, you get experience back with all those three guys. Keon Sabb, Bray Hubbard in the secondary, Yonze Pierre, a real pur dog. Like I've been saying, Holmes, I think Yonze Pierre, right, will have the most sacks in college football. I repeat, I believe Yonze Pierre will have the most sacks in college football, Holmes. Heavy. Oh man, but them returning, those guys returning, it's gonna go a long way to the success of this Bama defense. Period. Roll Tide.
January, hopefully, and those are some of the biggest wins in recruiting. They're also, we try to be very open with our players about what we think the best decision is for them, and we're really fortunate we have such great connections with.
I respect that. I respect that. Being straightforward, truthful, honest, even if it means what, losing a player to the draft, just keeping it real with them, telling them what they need to do or don't need to do. 1,000, roll tide, full of pride, roll tide.
All NFL organizations that we get great feedback, we're able to give them accurate information, and then they make the best decision possible. But, if you look over the past here, when you've had a grouping of guys that have kind of made that decision to come back as a group together, there's typically been success to follow. And so, it certainly puts us in a great position.
What's your off-season self-scout sort of show you about the defense?
Well, I think, for us, one of the things that we just have to continue to do is find ways to create negative plays. We just haven't, we still haven't been able to generate the pass rush for the first year and a half until towards the back end of the season. And
that's the biggest thing there. Consistency. And like he said, more of an immense pass rush, but for a longer period of time. No more taking all season to get locked in, right? No more taking a whole half for the pass rush to start applying pressure. No. So that's the biggest thing from this defense, from this defensive line as a whole, right? We need a force from the pass rush. Not just half the season, the whole season, Holmes. I repeat, right? Not just half the season, but the whole season. Consistency. Consistency. That's the name of the game. That's what this team needs, period. It can't be no more playing very good football in spurts, a stretch of 5 games, then collapsing. No. Hell to the no. We need this team playing consistent football week in, week out. Here we go.
Yanze was able to kind of give us something coming off the edge, and just that affecting the quarterback. And when we get in 2-minute situations, having to be able to have something where we can go 4-man rush, where we're not having to play man coverage, and pressure out of it. Those are things that we've got to continue to work on. But to me, I think we've done some good things here, and I know our numbers and all that stuff have been pretty solid for the last 2 years. We just haven't been a dominant defense, consistently throughout the season. We've shown flashes of it, but I'd like to be more dominant up front.
I like that. I like that coming from Kane Wommack a lot. He said he wants to be more dominant, right? Dominate. Like forget being a good defense, right? He want to dominate everybody. And that's what you want your defense to do, period. Dominate, Holmes, heavy. Right? Like the Bama of old. So I like the mentality Kane Wommack is in. I like the direction he wants his defense to go in, right? The trajectory they're headed on. But it starts with him. It starts with Kane Wommack, Holmes, period. Just like the whole team starts with coaching. The most important part of a team is coaching. I repeat, is coaching. I don't care how much talent you have. If you don't have the coaches to put them in position to develop them and help them reach and play at their maximum potential, guess what? It doesn't matter. So Kane Wommack going in year 3, it's on him, Holmes. It starts with him, Holmes, heavy.
I think we've addressed some of those needs with the guys that we've got in the transfer portal. Really excited with some of the new defensive linemen, excited about the growth that I see from some of the guys that have been here in our program. And so we're finding creative ways to get them in the backfield a little bit more.
Do you sense that the bandit and the wolf positions are kind of more interchangeable than they have been in years past?
Yeah, they definitely, we started to kind of evolve to that, this past season. I mean, we moved Yanze, Wolf, Bandit. We did different things with those guys and tried to create a lot of.
And see, with players like Yanze, etc., you have the luxury to reverse guys or put guys in different positions, and they still perform very well. That's a lot of talent on a roster. So you can pick and choose, move and groove within the system, within your scheme. You can throw the offense off as well, create mismatches as well, right? Rotating guys, moving guys here and there, banded wolf, very key, a major key.
Packages, I think we do have some pretty good depth right now at those positions, and so finding creative ways to kind of get those guys matched up based off the situation or the personnel that we want on the field. Those will be things that we're going to make sure that we're exploring every avenue there.
Who stood out?
I'm sorry.
Who has stood out?
Well, I think Yanze's continued to take that next step forward. He's carrying himself like a guy that has accomplished a lot of things this past season should. And
shout out Yanze Pierre. Expect a big season for Pierre. Matter of fact, expect a huge, colossal season from Yanze Pierre, dog. No cap. Roll Tide, full of pride. Roll Tide.
The opportunity that he's created for himself going into this season, right? He can create a lot of value in his draft stock. And so those are things that I think he stood out. Obviously, we're doing a lot with DT. Devin Tompkins is moving around for us. He can play outside. He can play inside.
Devin Tompkins, another name, another player that they brought in through the portal, looking to make splash moves, to make a lot of noise. That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. The fact that he's versatile, but a dog as well. Big in the trenches, tough up front, but move and groove. Very excited about how Kane Wommack, what he creates within this defense, what type of scheme he brings to the table. I expect the defense to look very similar in some ways as last year, but at the same time, I expect it to look different as well, especially with these big cornerbacks they're bringing in. I think it will be a lot more press and run, press coverage, more blitzing, etc., baby. Yeah, let's get it.
and he's kind of a force to be reckoned with. But I'm excited about a number of those guys. I mean, Justin Hill's taken a step forward. Cavante Henry is really starting to come on. Typically, when you come from a junior college, that's always kind of been the case. That first year, it's kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But I think he's in position now to push himself, and then really fortunate to be able to get Desmond.
Like I always say, don't sleep on JUCO guys. We could definitely see some new names on the field or in the rotation. Like Coach Wommack just said, Cavante Henry, he could make some noise, right? Took him maybe a year or two to develop, get in the groove of things, learn the swing of things. Now he could definitely show up and show out. But I gotta put some major respect on JUCO schools as well. Some of them dudes are very talented, just had to take a different route.
Umezulo back, or I say to get him out of the transfer portal. That was a big win for us.
What did you guys like about Tompkins when he got in the portal? What have you sort of seen from him since then?
Well, you try to find versatility, right? Guys that can do multiple things, multiple positions, and that to me is something that he brings to the table. Just because of his athleticism and because of his size and strength, he can do things inside and outside at a pretty high level. Once we got to know him and you started doing your research from his time at USC, this guy's a captain. He's a leader. He carries himself with a professional demeanor day in and day.
Very important, right? Those personality traits, those character traits. Like you said, he's a captain, he's a leader, he has the experience on the field and off the field. So you expect him to step up and be a leader in the locker room, etc. Shout out Devin Tompkins coming out of USC. Now it's Roll Tide full of pride.
Out, and he has absolutely shown that in the first 2 months of being here. Just the level of maturity that he brings, the work ethic. He wants to be coached, he wants to be pushed, and he has a really, really high ceiling.
What do you like about
with any player, with any team, with with any organization and all that, right? It starts with the want to be great, the want to do good and play well, the want to perform, put it all on the line, leave it on the field. You hear me? Heavy. The want to, baby. Roll Tide.
Carmelo O'Neal coming out of the portal?
Yeah, so it's funny you pick up on things, right? We were watching Auburn and they had played Mercer the week before, and I was like, damn, who is this long DB that they got at Mercer, whatever. And then Mo, we in our recruiting staff, we kind of found him through our transfer portal evaluations, and kid's great. He's hungry. He wants to take a step forward. He knows that there's some things from a fundamental standpoint that he could grow in, and he's like a sponge right now. I mean, just you teach him something, he picks up on it really fast. And you don't see a guy that we're already long in the secondary, and then all of a sudden he's a little taller than Dijon Lee, which is hard to believe.
And see Kane Wommack seemingly looking for certain players with certain statures and certain body frames and all that. Big, long cornerbacks. That's his new repertoire. Let's get it.
And still have corner feet. And so there's a lot of things we could do with him, but right now he's doing a really nice job on the outside. I'm excited about him.
What have you seen from Chirac and Jordan kind of getting their feet wet?
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is for us, right, we're going to make an investment in the high school, market, and we can get the best players in the country coming out of high school. The key is, right, you got to make sure you get a return on your investment, and the days of waiting around 2.5 years for those players to develop and then get on the field, that's really not feasible, right? That's not a good business structure. So for us, right, we've got to make sure we identify guys that are not only the most talented, but also have a maturity to be able to come in and do the work. Xavier Brown, Dijon Lee, Ivan Taylor, Mincy, those guys have all come in and they've been able to contribute for us in
Very important what he said, right? Buying into the program, understanding the program, believing in the program and the system, playing within the system, baby, for real. You hear me? Once again, the want to, Holmes, the effort, the want to be great, the want to win. Be a leader, do your job, and do it very well. Roll Tide.
Year one, and I think both those guys are very much on pace to do that.
The Husky position, obviously, you've got Red coming back, but who else is sort of working in there? What do you think about that spot?
Well, it's such a versatile position. We talked about that before. You got to play man, you got to play, blitz off the edge, play the run fit, zone drop, all those things. Red he is taking his game to another level right now. I mean, he's just playing. It's a very instinctive position, right? And Red has great instincts, and he has the ability to
Shout out Red Morgan. As we all know, Red Morgan is a dog, a real dog. Scrappy, feisty, tough, physical, all that.
go make some of those plays in a number of ways. But, Chuck McDonald is doing a really nice job at that position, and obviously can play corner and also just has the size and frame and athleticism to play at the nickel. And then Drake Kirkpatrick is going back and forth between Rover and the Husky position. So we're in a really good place right now.
And what I love about those positions, those players, they bring physicality to the table, right? Not only versatility, not only the IQ, the information, the knowledge of the game, right? And understanding what their job is in the Kane Wommack system, but they bring you physicality, a dog mentality, period.
Secondary is, one, you have these guys that are coming back, but it's also highly competitive right now. So excited to see what that competition brings out of that group.
What have you seen from the inside backers? A lot of new faces there. What do you see there?
Yeah, well, you identify guys, in the last 2 years, and we knew we were going to have this kind of void of experience that we thought was going to show up last year, and then the ruling came out where JJ could come back, and then Deontay Lawson made the choice to come back, and we get Nakai Hill Green out of the transfer portal, and now you got experience again, and so now all of a sudden that void is kind of hit this year. Caleb Woodson's been a really great presence in that room, just from an experience, maturity standpoint. But we knew we were building to this, and so we tried to bring a great young class the last couple of years, and now it's time for those guys to step up and make plays, right? So they're in a good spot right now. I'm excited for them. They're deep.
Big facts, no cap. Like you said, it's time for the young guys to show up and step up and show out. What does that mean? What does that tell you for sure? Is that recruiting will always matter. NIL, transfer portal or not, guess what? Recruiting will always matter, baby. Heavy. Roll Tide, Holmes, roll Tide.
But I want to see kind of that grouping of guys separate themselves into the top.
Make sure if you come in the chat, like it up, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell as well. Why not? Takes less than 1 second, huh? Support the grind, support the channel. Share this with any and everybody you know. Roll Tide.
4 or 5 guys that we can really enter into the season with.
Are there conflicts between, say, Bandit, Wolf, or Husky corner? As a coach, what's the difference between like making sure a player is versatile versus making sure that they know their assignment, that they know like one position fully? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The consistency of doing your job. You got most of the guys that we do that with, that we play multiple positions, have been in this scheme for a couple of years, right? So, typically when a guy comes in as a freshman, we set him into kind of one thing, and then we build and grow from that, from there. And so, that's something that Drake Kirkpatrick, Red Morgan, Zabian can do those things. Bray Hubbard. I mean, that's, they've just been repping the same plays for 2.5 years now, right? And so it gives us a chance to be able to do those things more. But to your point, right, if a guy can't handle that, right, then we got to make sure that we settle them into one position. And there's a value in that the NFL puts on players, that we put on players. What type of position versatility do you have?
You mentioned Caleb Woodson. Just what has he brought, not only from an on-the-field standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint?
Well, he's a professional. I mean, he's very much businesslike.
Very excited about Caleb Woodson. I repeat, definitely excited about Caleb Woodson, baby. Like I've been saying since they brung him in the building, bro. Period. Long linebacker, big linebacker, but not only that, versatile as hell. He can run with a tight end, run with a receiver even. He definitely can shut down a running back. He gets to the ball. Then you got the trenches playing well, opening up gaps for the linebacking core so they can run around, run sideline to sideline, baby, and make tackles all day. But very excited about Caleb Woodson and the experience he brings to the table. Period, Holmes. Roll Tide.
About his business. He uses the resources of this program, which are obviously vast here. So he's up here a lot. He's around the program. You can see he's already engaging some of the younger players. You know, he's not just here for himself. He wants to be a good teammate. He wants to be a leader. He's hungry. He asks a lot of questions. But probably the biggest thing that stands out over the first 4 days is just how hard he plays. I mean, we are stressing the effort and finish that we play with. You know, I think, you know, do we play hard as a defense? Yes. But there's a level of when you turn on the tape, and historically in our defensive system, this has been a staple of who we are. When you turn on the tape, watch the all 22 copy, when you turn on a nationally televised game, the effort and finish that you see is something that should stand out about our defense. And so it has been solid, but it hasn't been elite. And so we want to make sure we're doing that. Caleb is really setting the tone.
I like that. I like that. Hard work, motor, determined, passion, aggression, effort, week in, week out. And I'm glad Kane Wommack realized that as well. You know, you got to show effort all the time, right? You got to bring the same level of intensity, of energy, of chemistry every week, every game. That's what makes it so difficult. But the great teams are able to do it week in, week out, period. And it starts with their coaching staff having them ready.
Those things right now.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
And there it is from Kane Wommack. Shout out Kane Wommack. Here we go, bro. Goes shout out Kane Wommack. One second. Here we go, baby. Here we go. Then we just gonna get into some Bama news and dive right into it heavy. Give me 1 second. Damn, that shit flowing, man. Give me 1 second, no doubt, no doubt. Hey, spring football is here. Spring football is here. I repeat, you gotta love it. You gotta love it, baby. Let's get it. Now we're gonna break down some news, just news coming out of Bama. First up, who are Alabama's options at Husky besides Red Morgan? Huh? Very interesting, Holmes. Very interesting for real. Now you heard what King Walmack just said. He feels real good about Red Morgan, but it's also other guys who can step up and play a major role within the system, within the scheme. Here we go. The Husky or nickel defensive back position in Alabama's defense is one that asks a lot of the players who play it. Big facts, no cap. They have to, first and foremost, be versatile. You got to play man. Alabama defensive coordinator Kane Wommack said, you've got to blitz off the edge, play the run fit, zone drop, all those things. And there you have it, bro. Boom. Kane Wommack expects the Husky position to be able to do it all damn near. Red Morgan, he's an animal, Holmes. He's a dog. But you need that backup. You need backups. You need depth who can step in and fill in if their name and number is ever called, or simply if you have a real rotation going on heavy. Here we go. Last season, senior Deshaun Jones started in the slot week 1, but it was Red Morgan, who was a sophomore in 25, who closed the schedule as the first team Husky, starting 5 of the final 6 games. Jones is out of eligibility, but Morgan is back with plenty of experience for this 3rd year in the program. He also sought a fill at Husky as a true freshman in 2024. Morgan recorded 26 tackles, 17 solo, 3 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hurries, 1 pass breakup, and 1 forced fumble in his 2nd year at Alabama. And he enters this spring as an upperclassman who is a top candidate to retain his first team role from a year ago. Here we go. Red, he is taking his game to another level right now. And once again, that's great news to hear. Guys elevating, putting in that off-season work, hitting that off-season program hard. It's a very instinctive position, right? And Red has great instincts, and he has the ability to go make some of those plays in a number of ways. Morgan is easy to pencil in as the starting Husky, but as we've seen throughout the past 2 seasons, Wommack and his coaching staff like to rotate players. And that's the big thing right there, Holmes. Starter, backup, whatever, who will be in the rotation. It's a real stiff competition. I repeat, a real stiff competition going on around yonder. Wommack and this coaching staff like to rotate players, even in the secondary. So, who are some of Alabama's other options behind Morgan at the nickel defensive back? Here we go. Chuck McDonald is doing a really nice job at that position. And obviously, we can play corner and also just has the size and frame and athleticism to play at the nickel. So Chuck McDonald, very versatile. Look out, pay attention to Chuck McDonald. He might really make some noise this year, Wommack said. And then Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. always talk about the physicality that Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. brings if he can just stay out of trouble, keep his mind right, keep his mind locked in, keep the right ones around him. Is going back and forth between Rover and the Husky position. So we're in a really good place right now. And you already know, man, Kane Wommack obviously feels good about his defense. And that's definitely a plus with spring ball just beginning. McDonald played in 6 games as a true freshman last year, but 2 of those, Georgia, Indiana, were in the postseason, meaning he maintained a season of eligibility. The 6'1", 197-pound redshirt freshman will look to get on the field more in year 2 after only logging 26 snaps on the defensive side of the ball during his rookie campaign, according to Pro Football Focus. One second, here we go. Kilpatrick is looking to get on the field more this fall too. He looked to be on his way to doing that before mid-season arrest led to a suspension that lasted the final 7 games. See, the biggest thing for Drake Kirkpatrick, right? Can he stay out of trouble? Can he keep his mind right? The talent is there. The physicality is there. He's a real true head buster, a real true game changer, mentality changer, right? Momentum changer. As we all know, one big hit, one big play can change the whole momentum of a game, really get the crowd in the game and all that. So biggest thing for him is, can he stay on the field? Can he stay out of trouble? Period. The talent is there. Here we go. The Tide Legacy is back practicing with the team and continues to work at the Husky position. In fact, he and Morgan both practiced with the cornerbacks during Thursday's viewing periods. Alabama welcomed back 5 defensive backs with starting experience, several players who could take the next step, and 6 newcomers who could push them all. It's the most loaded unit on the 2026 roster, which is why the Crimson Tide has several options in the slot this spring. And it's always good to have options, baby. No cap, all facts. Here we go. Our secondary is one. You have these guys that are coming back, but it's also highly competitive right now. Wommack said, man sharpen man, iron sharpen iron. I repeat, man sharpen man, huh? Iron sharpen iron. Let's get it. Roll Tide, heavy. So excited to see what that competition brings out of that group. And there it is, bro. There it is. You know? You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. I know who that is already. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Bama football is here. Bama football is here. The pads are on. I repeat, the pads are on to the break of dawn. You know? Hey, let me know how you feel once again, bro. Let me know how you feel about the state of Alabama football. You feel good about it? You feel bad about it? Do you feel great about it? No cap. Roll Tide. Mhm. See what else we got here for today. See, for the freshmen, here we go. Now let's talk about some freshmen, man. Some freshmen that are in position to play year one. Now we know the secondary is stacked. No doubt about it, right? Right. The secondary is really stacked. Alabama brought in the number 6 overall recruiting class in the 2026 cycle, and included in that class was some of the top secondary talent in the country. The Crimson Tide added 2 top 40 recruits, safety Jeray Edwards. Look out for safety Jeray Edwards facts. And cornerback Jordan Edmonds as some of the top rated members of his class. Both are early enrollees and have been participating in the first week of spring practice the past few days, and have left a strong impression with defensive coordinator Kane Wommack. Here we go. Delton in the building, my dog Dell in the building. He's saying I'm late to the show. My bad. Hey, bro, you showed up, you know? You showed up, bro. Roll Tide full of pride, Dell. Roll Tide full of pride, baby. Heavy. He said, get that shit popping. Roll Tide. You know it. You know it. Here we go, man. Here we go. But this secondary will be very elite. And don't be shocked if you see some freshmen playing very early. You know? But I like the fact, matter of fact, I love the fact that Kane Wommack feels real good about the position that this defense is in. And you'll probably see him lean on the secondary throughout the year as well, as far as blitzing extra on certain plays, trusting his secondary in one-on-one coverage and all that. So we're going to be good. We're going to be real good. Here we go. The nice thing for us is we're going to make an investment in the high school market, Womack said after Friday's practice. Recruiting, baby, recruiting. We can get the best players in the country coming out of high school. The key is you've got to make sure you get a return on your investment. The days of waiting around 2.5 years for those players to develop and get on the field, that's really not feasible. Big facts, no cap. It's too many movements, too many transitions, right, on a year-to-year basis. Until they improve this NIL system, until they improve this transfer portal system, baby, it's no way to wait a whole year or 2 years for a player to develop. You got to bring guys in, boom, have them ready. I repeat, bring them in, have them ready, boom, quickly and swiftly. Roll Tide. That's not a good business structure. For us, we've got to make sure we identify guys that are not only the most talented, but have a maturity to be able to come in and do the work. Facts, no cap. Zabian Brown, Dejon Lee, Ivan Taylor, Zay Mincy, those guys have all come in and they've been able to contribute for us in year one. I think both of those guys are very much on pace to do that. Hey, man, what more could you ask for, right? What more could you really ask for? That's the whole point of it, right? That's what you want. Guys playing right away. Guys playing right away. Here we go. Lee, one of the former highly rated freshmen that Wommack complimented, is entering his second year in the program. A year ago, he was in the same position as Edmonds and sees the potential in the newcomer. Be right back. 1 second. Roll Tide. So let me see. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, man. Here we go. Roll Tide, roll Tide. Here we go. A year ago, he was in the same position as Edmonds and sees the potential in the newcomer. Got in, just put his head down and worked. Lee said of Edmonds. We had the fourth quarter program. He was out there working with us, gained about 15 pounds of muscle. And a lot of guys put on that weight, bro. Shout out to the strength and conditioning program. Now we got to see how it translates to the field. But a lot of guys put on some solid weight, Holmes. I repeat, solid weight. Like he said right here, 15 pounds of muscle. I repeat, 15 pounds of muscle. That's real good work, bro. Real good work. Protect the body. I repeat, protect the body. Heavy. He got a lot bigger over the time. So he gonna be special. He for sure is. Technical, we still cleaning a lot of things up. He just got here. So we got a lot of work. So we got a lot to work on, but definitely got a high upside for sure. Development, baby. Development. All those technical issues, right? Certain techniques he must work on. That all comes with coaching, time, and development, period. Oh man, so damn per. Roll Tide. Here we go. But the freshmen weren't the only additions Alabama made in the secondary this offseason. The Crimson Tide landed a big addition out of the transfer portal and former Mercer cornerback Carmelo O'Neal. With a height of 6'4", he adds to the already eye-popping length on the back end of Alabama's defense. And like I've been saying, bro, I'm telling you, Kane Wommack got something real good and special cooking up. You know, he's bringing these big guys in for a reason, these long guys in for a reason, Holmes. It's not just on GP, right? It's not just cuz. No, he wants to play a certain type of football, and he's looking for a certain prototype of player to go, to fit, to play in his defense, period. If you don't believe so, you are very delusional. Heavy. Roll Tide. You pick up on things, right? We were watching Auburn and they played Mercer the week before. I was like, damn, who is this long DB they got at Mercer? Shout out Wommack. Shout out Wommack for paying attention, huh? Paying attention, Holmes. Heavy. That's scouting, baby. I repeat, that's scouting at the highest level. Let's go. Here we go. Then Mo Linguist and our recruiting staff, we kind of found him through our transfer portal evaluations. Kid's great, hungry. He wants to take a step forward. He knows that there are some things from a fundamental standpoint that he could grow in. He's like a he's like a sponge right now. You teach him something, he picks up on it really fast. You don't see a guy, you don't see a guy that we're already long in the secondary, and all of a sudden he's taller than Dejon Lee, which is hard to believe, and still have corner feet, meaning his feet are still quick, still still quick, agile, and all that. Fast footwork and all that as well, baby, at that height and size. Telling you, bro, the defense is coming. The defense is coming. Here we go. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things we could do with him, but right now he's doing a really good job on the outside. I'm excited about him. Alabama return starters from 2025 at all 5 spots in the secondary, but the depth has been bolstered in a major way by these off-season additions. One second. Here we go. Boom, right there. So we got here, man. But definitely shout out respect to the secondary. Expect big things from them. Now we're going to move on to the linebacker room. Make sure if you come in the chat, like it up. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell. I repeat, hit that bell, period. Oh, yeah, man. Roll Tide. Let's see here. Kane Wommack says Alabama inside linebacker room is deep and in a good spot right now. And I pretty much went over all this in the Kane Wommack presser. He pretty much talked about it and broke it down. So I'm not going to really read all of it, but we know as far as the guys who left, Lawson, Jefferson, Hill, Green, the new guys coming in, right? Caden Jones, QB Reese, Luke Metz, Duke Johnson, Abdul Sanders, and the addition of Caleb Woodson through the portal. Let me see here. Now, all of a sudden, that void has kind of hit this year, said Alabama defensive coordinator Kane Wommack after spring practice number 4 on Friday morning. Here we go. Let's see here. Both Wommack and head coach Kalen DeBoer have praised Woodson, who will be a senior for the Tide after transferring from Virginia Tech. He played in 9 games in 2025, but still finished second on the team in tackles, 58. In fact, he was second for the Hokies in tackles each of the last 2 seasons and started 20 total games. The Tide needed to add a proven player at inside linebacker with how much it lost this offseason, and Woodson fit the need. Yes, sir, bro. Womack said the 6'3", 238-pound transfer has been a really great presence in the room. Like I told y'all, big dude, 6'3", 238, can run, can move. He can run with the receivers as well. So he's a real versatile weapon in that linebacker room, period. Particularly from an experience and maturity standpoint. He's a captain type portal addition. Definitely a plus, definitely a plus. He's a professional, Womack said of Woodson. I mean, he's very much business-like about his business. He uses the resources of this program, which are obviously vast here. So he's up here a lot. He's around the program. You can see he's already engaging some of the younger players. He's not just here for himself. He wants to be a good teammate. He wants to be a leader. He's hungry. He asks a lot of questions. And that's very important, dog. It's about team overall, you know, period, right? You know, what type of leader is this guy? What type of player is he in the room, on the field, and off the field? The fact he's already engaging and talking to the younger guys says a lot right there. Oh yeah, he could have came in all just being about self, being about only him improving this year and all that, preparing for the NFL, everything in that nature. But he's coming in with a business mind, but wants to learn, but also hungry and willing to teach the younger players as well. And as far as success goes, he wants the whole team to be successful in general. Very important, dog. I repeat, very important. Let's see. Like Kane Wommack said in the presser, right? But probably the biggest thing that stands out over the first 4 days is just how hard he plays. And that's a major factor. You talk about effort week in, week out, every play effort, high motor, high motor. That's what Caleb Woodson brings to the table. And the fact that he plays hard and wants to play hard, that's all you need right there. What more could you ask for real? Caleb is really setting the tone for those things right now. Big props to Caleb Woodson. I repeat, dog. Big props to Caleb Woodson. Very important, Holmes. Very important. But I'm telling you, man, this defense as a whole, this defense in general, can do big things this year. And the fact that they will be able to lean on the secondary is a major plus. You know? Now let's talk about some of these, the receiving room in general. I feel like a very explosive receiving room, period. Here we go. See what we got here. Ryan Coleman Williams is now the veteran in Alabama's wide receiver room, a fact that the now junior called crazy after the Crimson Tide's third spring practice. And Ryan Williams must step up, period. He's a junior. He has a lot to play for. He kind of looking for a rebirth after the season he had last year. And we all know bottom line is we need more. We need more, period. When Coleman Williams burst onto the scene as a true freshman in 24, you couldn't watch a game or highlight without being reminded that he was only 17 years old. Facts. But now that Alabama's receiving corps experienced some attrition this offseason, Coleman Williams is one of the most proven players, not only at his position, but for the Crimson Tide's entire offense. Just because we have such a young team, like I'm considered an old head, Coleman Williams said. So just having guys just coming to me for advice, and it just flies by. From my first game against Western Kentucky to now getting ready to play Eastern Carolina, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. Shout out Ryan Coleman Williams, heavy. Coleman Williams is entering his third year in the Alabama program. In his previous 27 games, he caught 97 passes for 1,554 yards and 12 touchdowns. With Jeremy Bernard turning pro and 5 other receivers entering the transfer portal, the Tide needs Coleman Williams to step into a leadership role this offseason. What does that look like to the junior wideout? Setting an example, that's the obvious, Coleman Williams said. Just the way you carry yourself on and off the field. Big facts, no cap. But whenever we're on the field, you don't have to be the most vocal guy, but just making an impact, whether that's making a throw and saying, good catch, It doesn't take much. So really just be that guy for your teammate. Yeah, facts, bro. He ain't got to talk all day. He can lead by example and all that, period. Here we go. Alabama has 9 scholarship wide receivers on campus for spring drills, with a couple of other late additions to the 2026 signing class set to enroll this summer. But really, 6 of the 12 are set to play key roles for the Tide this fall. Outside of Coleman Williams, UA returns Lloyd Sear Brooks, Rico Scott, and Derek Meadows, and added Noah Rogers and Cedarian Morgan. Like I say, watch out for Cedarian Morgan, Noah Rogers as well. Some say Derek Meadows might be ready. So we're going to see. We for sure going to see. Here we go. Back in the number 1 jersey he wore in high school, Coleman Williams saw an opportunity for a hard reset after an up-and-down sophomore campaign. With a couple of noticeable changes, he likes the vibes around year 3 at Alabama, not only for himself, but those around him. Rico Scott, all my guys that came in with me, Lloyd Sear Brooks, who's a year behind me, we're just bringing the energy through each other, Coleman Williams said. Even on the defensive side, just iron sharpening iron, it's definitely some energy around here. That's what it's about, energy, bro, chemistry and all that. I expect to see great cohesion and great chemistry, right, in this wide receiving room, period. After Alabama's 3rd spring practice, now we on practice photo, Coleman Williams discussed several of the players he shares the wide receiver room with this spring. Below are his thoughts on UA's wideouts. Coleman Williams on Noah Rogers. He's definitely another speed guy. He's eating up a lot of grass day in, day out. And it just is good to have threats on all sides of the field. And I'm just super proud of the work that he's put in so far. And I know he's going to keep going. Speed, 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 right? Speed kills. Coleman Williams on Lloyd Sear Brooks and Rico Scott. They kind of been bouncing off each other as far as iron sharpen iron. They're just learning from each other, whether it's in the slot position or the outside position. They're pretty much the most compatible guys in our room, so they really just bounce ideas off of each other day in and day out. And you can just see them sprint down the middle of the field going 1,000 miles per hour, and I'm like, appreciate the clear, I'm open. And that's what happens when you got speed on the field, right? Guys can come in, clear the way for other receivers to get open. Yeah, bro, it's about scheme. It's about scheme. Coleman Williams on Cedarian Morgan. It's literally like looking in a time machine, watching the guys who's a little bigger than me. But literally, I've seen him since he was in high school. So it's just crazy to see how he's come in, had his head down, trying to learn from older guys. And I remember being in that position, and I'm super, super proud of him. And I know he's going to continue to work his tail off. Hell yeah, bro. That's what it's about, G. Straight up. Shout out all of them boys putting that work in, grinding, going hard, and all that. I feel very excited about this wide receiving core as well. A lot of talent all over the field. I repeat, a lot of talent all over the field, baby. You hear me? No cap. Then I ain't even got to dive into this article here. You already heard Kane Wommack break down, and we know ourselves as Bama fans for real. You know how much of a boost it is to this team for Yanze Pierre to return, right? For Keon Sabb to return, Bray Hubbard to return homes, period. We know exactly what it means to this team for all these guys to be coming back. The experience it gives you, the help it gives you on and off the field. Oh, yeah, for real. Roll Tide full of pride. Roll Tide full of pride, baby. Straight up. So I ain't even got to really break it down in the boogie downtown. We just going to move along to some recruiting. Like I say every time, right? Recruiting never dies. It really never slows down, especially at this time. Team still battling, right? Bama's still battling for certain guys to bring in the building. I repeat, to bring in the damn building, baby. Yeah. So with that being said, boom, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Recruiting news. Recruiting news. I wonder how this class going to rank. Let's see. Hold up, though. Hold up, Holmes. Hold up, Holmes. Don't do that too quickly. Don't do that too quickly and swiftly, baby. You hear me heavy. Hold on now. Let's get to it. What's up with this thing, bro? Come on, what's up? Give me 1 second, bro. Give me 1 second, no doubt. With recruiting, you're pretty much going to hear the same names when it comes to recruiting until these guys are signed, right? Hold on 1 second. Roll Tide, baby, for sure. Let's see, we got some. Let me see here right quick. Hold on. Inside Alabama's linebacker pursuit, where things stand with a key target after visit. See key targets, guys coming in. Bama must win. I repeat, Bama must win. Alabama has had top prospects on campus throughout the week, including Rivals 300 linebacker Brandon Lockley Jr., who visited late in the week. I mentioned Brandon Lockley Jr. for real. With his size, bro, and the speed he brings, his athleticism at that position, we got to get him. I repeat, we got to get him heavy. Here we go. The number 160 prospect in the country already has an official visit back in Tuscaloosa, locked in for May 29th. And the SEC program continues trending up in his recruitment. They're definitely a top contender, Lockley told Rivals. I had a really good visit. Getting to spend time with the entire coaching staff again was exciting. I haven't been down here in a bit, so it was nice to get back on campus. Here we go. The entire staff has been showing me a ton of love through the entire recruiting process. And the last couple of days proved how much of a priority I am to the staff. Ever since the offer, we've been building a relationship, and I could absolutely see myself in Tuscaloosa. Let's go, baby. Let's go for sure. Roll Tide, Roll Tide. Oh, yeah. Here we go, man. Boom. The visit gave Lockley a chance to see the program's culture up close again. I believe that seeing the standard and culture of Alabama in full display at practice made the visit so good, he said. It was good to see how much every little thing matters to them. Alabama's message to the linebacker has remained consistent throughout the process. Bama's message has been that I'm someone they think very highly of, Lockley said. They've been saying they love my traits on and off the field. Lockley also spent time watching practice while in Tuscaloosa. I got to watch practice Friday. It was a really good and competitive one, he said. My highlight from the day was watching the linebackers take installs they just did in a day and play the calls full speed. I like that, bro. Make them think on the fly. Put them in tough situations already and see how they adapt on the go. Respect. The tradition and development track record at Alabama continue to stand out. They are a top contender because it is a school notorious for producing great players, he said. Also because they show genuine interest in me. I like it. I like it. I love it for real. And I think that's pretty much it for Bama news as far as recruiting goes. You know, guys will be coming in March, April, May, June. It should really rev up and ramp up in the May, June months of the summer. So just pay close attention. I repeat, Holmes, pay close attention. Right? Just with how this whole recruiting class is going. Of course, it's spring ball. That's where that's where you're really locked in. But at the end of the day as well, don't forget about recruiting. There's a lot of recruiting battles going on, and Bama is right in the middle of it all. Period, bro. No cap. Oh yeah, you hear me? Heavy. One second, homie. 1 second, 1 second. Let's see here. Boom. Hold on, I'm trying to get back to that down. Hold up. Get back to that thing over there, man. Let me see. Refresh this, John. Here we go. But the pads are on, dog. The pads are on, and them boys going strong. Just keep working. That's it. That's it, right? That's pretty much it. Yeah, bro. So as far as Bama goes, man, the time is now. Spring football is upon us. Pretty soon, the regular season will be upon us. The pads are on, bro. Who gonna shine? Who gonna separate themselves? Like Kane Wommack said, like Ryan Grubb and Coach the boy K-Dog said, right? It's gonna be some real battles. Some real official, down to the nitty-gritty battles, baby. No cap. Oh, yeah. Let me know in the comments, bro. How you feel about Bama, spring football being back and all that? Are you ready? Are you really ready? Who you think has the edge at certain positions as well, Holmes? Let's get into it. But day 4, I repeat, day 4 of Bama spring practice. Huh? Yeah, baby. Keep it going. Keep it going. Roll Tide full of pride once again. Roll Tide full of pride once again, man. This is a pivotal spring, especially for certain players. The quarterback position, Keelan Russell, Austin Mack, right? Who will step out there? That's probably the toughest battle, maybe the most competitive battle thus far. And we already know Rayson Delgado pretty much taking over that center position. That's a benefit for Bama to bring in a guy through the portal, a center at that, one of the toughest positions on the O-line, and he's already producing at a high level. But I'm not shocked, surprised at all. You know, Rayson Delgado out of Cal Poly, when I put on the film, all you see is him flashing. All you see is the high motor, the want to, the effort, every play in, play out. That's what it's about, Holmes, for real. So Alabama may have found a diamond in the rough at that center position, right? So I'm excited with where this run game is when the season starts, huh? When the smoke clears and it's all said and done. Come on, man. Let's get it. Once again, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell. Come rock and roll with me. Come lock in with me. You know what it is, bro. Big SKOL here. Roll Tide full of pride, win, lose, or draw. But we come to win. Down at the levee, we going fishing at the levee. Roll Tide. Believe that.